All right, so this question says, your new computer costs $1,500, but it depreciates exponentially each year. The table shows the remaining value each year. And so what we're asked to do is we're asked to find the fraction that represents the remaining value. We're asked to find the fraction by which the computer decays yearly. So how much is being the value losing? And then the equation that represents the remaining value. So whenever we get a table, a graph, or even a statement that represents an exponential function or exponential growth relationship, there are two things that we want to find. One, we want to look at or identify the initial value, and in this case, that is 1500, so that's going to become important for our equation. And then the next thing is we want to find the growth factor. So by how much is the value changing constantly by a multiplier? So in order to find that value, I think that is what we struggle with the most. We're going to identify our output value. So we're going to start with 1200. And we're going to take that 1200 and divide it by the output value that was the previous output value, which is 1500. When you put this in your calculator, you're going to end up getting 0.8. And going back to middle school, 0.8 is the same as 8/10, so it's 8 over 10. And you can reduce that to be 4/5. So this is either 0.8 or 4/5. You can test it out because you want to notice if it's a constant factor. So we're going to take that 960. And we want to divide that 960 by the previous output value, which is now 1200. When you put that in the calculator, you're getting the same 0.8 or 4/5. And so I think that is enough for us to establish that, yes, this is going to be a constant growth factor. It's maintaining or 0.8 of the value, or it's 0.80 of the previous value of the computer. So now that we have that information, we're going to go ahead and use that to answer our questions. So again, or growth factor is 0.8 or 4/5. And with that said, here are the information that we have. We know that the fraction that represents the remaining value of the computer, of your new computer, is 0.8 or 4/5. We calculated that. And then we're asked to find, well, by what fraction did the computer decay? How much value was taken off it? And the whole is always 1. So in order to find the amount of, or the fraction that was by which a computer decayed, it's 1 minus the remaining value, which is 0.8, which is going to give you 0.2. And going back to our knowledge of fractions and decimals, we know that the 0.2 2/10 means 2/10, so that is equal to 1/5. So it's either 0.2 or 1/5. Now the equation for the remaining value of the computer is going to involve the fraction of that is the remaining value. So the equation is going to be y is equal to initial value, which is 1500, times the growth factor for the remaining value, which is 0.80, all raised to the x power.